So thank you so much, guys, for joining in. I am on the ethics. Mr. Kiz is an AI atheist with the Pan-African Center for AI Ethics. In 2023, he led the ethics of the volunteer expert group Artificial Intelligence Policy. As an AI atheist in Africa, he has been in Australia. This includes, but not limited to, the 23rd World Congress on Safety and Health at Workplace, Sydney, Australia, Sustainability AI Lab, Bonn, Germany, where he presented on AI for Sustainable Development in Africa, Future Africa Conference, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to mention a few. He has served in several advisory boards, committees, stakeholders, dialogues. So everyone, please welcome Mr. Kingsley to facilitate the introduction to AI ethics. Mr. Kingsley, over to you. Mr. Kingsley. Please just give him, as he's about to start. I've just been informed that his network is a bit bad, but he'll join us shortly.
Hi everyone, good morning. Apologies. Just to confirm, are you able to hear me? I had a bit of glitch, that's why there was a delay in my journey. Please confirm if you are able to hear me. Are you able to hear me?
We can hear you, Mr.
Yes.
We can hear you, Mr.
Okay, good morning everyone. While we are about to start the class, I just want to appreciate, thank you, Reth, for the introduction and also for, for the work, for the summer school. Thank you very much. And I want to also appreciate everybody on this call. Thank you for joining in. And I do believe that we are all able to get something even, at the end of this class, and hopefully we are also going to benefit something from it. Before I share my slides and start the class, I would just want to ask few persons, what do you understand by AI ethics.
Badu.
I would like everybody to mute their mics. You're on the call, kindly mute your mic so that with other
I'm sorry for that. Guys, could you please mute we're missing Muta. Can you please unmute yourself? Thank you so much. You can go ahead, Mr. Kingsley.
So please, if you're on the call, for everybody to be able to enjoy what is going on here, I think it's best that we all, mute ourselves until we are asked to unmute, so that we would not, deny other persons from, getting what they ought to get. So what do you understand by the word AI ethics? When you hear AI ethics, what comes to your mind? How do you explain it? What do you think about AI ethics before, I just go straight into the class? What do you think about AI ethics? Because this is like the first class that, that would, bring us into this conversation on what we are doing here. What is bringing all of us together for the summer school, is AI ethics. And I'll also try as much as possible to make this class very brief, but, to make it, a conversational, very, very conversational as well. So I want to ask, what do you understand by the word AI ethics? If you have anything to say, you could just raise up your hand. I would pick you up and then, get you to answer questions. Somebody said that I would also be reading the charts, the principles that we use to guide us in the proper and ethical applications on the development and use of AI. Okay, that is first thoughts. Other persons, what is your thought? What do you understand about AI ethics? What do you understand about AI ethics? If you hear the word AI ethics, what exactly comes to your mind? What comes to your mind? I'm happy to hear other thoughts. If you want to mute your mic, it's good. We would be glad also. If you want to mute your mic, yeah, you can also mute your mic and say something about it. Who again? Maybe to make it easy, I might call names so that most persons might. Okay, ethics equal to the guidelines to be followed for the responsible usage of AI ethics. Difference between right and wrong. Standards that we ought to adhere to while using AI. Other thoughts? Other persons? I'm happy to hear, several thoughts on this subject matter. The rules that must be followed in handling issues that affect human and society. Okay, moral guidelines for the usage of AI. Other persons that would want to say something? I'm just using this to buy time. My slide is still loading. Other persons that would want to say something, the rules that must be followed in handling. Okay, AI ethics are a set of guidelines and principles that stakeholders use to ensure AI technology are developed and used responsibly. Okay, that's also correct. That's also correct. Other thoughts? Just using it to buy time. I'm sure that in a few seconds I should be ready. My slide should display. Okay, I'm hearing a voice. Go ahead, please.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Let me just, like I said, just limit it today to get back to you on that, right? Just give me, yeah. I'll get back to you definitely. Yeah.
Can I go ahead, Kisin?
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, for me, I would say that AI ethics refers to the set of principles, guidelines, and the practices that are aimed at ensuring the responsible development and use of artificial intelligence systems.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's also correct. I mean, we are correct. We are correct. Okay, I think I'm almost there. So many of us have given, our thoughts on AI ethics as principles that guide, the responsible development and use of AI, which is correct. Other persons, have also mentioned that AI ethics has to do with the morals. That has to do with morals, right and wrong, which is also correct. Many of us have also mentioned that AI ethics has to do with the principles that govern the use of responsible use of AI, which is also correct. It's also correct. Now, in all this, we would find one thing in common. The one thing in common is that AI ethics basically handles the when it handles matters on the use, right, on responsibility on AI systems, which is a great thought, right? Okay, I think my slide is up now, so I could just my slide. Now, before we're able to understand what AI ethics is, we see that AI ethics is a combination of two words, AI and then ethics. To be able to understand this fully, we would need to give a definition of what AI is. I don't know, can anybody see my slide? Please confirm if you're able to see my slide.
No, we can't see your slide, sir.
Okay, just hold on. Let me readjust it. I don't know.
Guys, can I, as Mr. Kingsley is preparing his slides, can I please ask that we mute ourselves? I see. Thank you so much. Can we just always mute ourselves when we log in?
Okay, are you able to see my slide now?
Unfortunately not.
Whoa, what's going on? Okay, please confirm again. Are you able to see it? Zoom, share. Okay, share. Are you able to see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, finally. Okay, awesome. I'll just keep this somewhere so you can see. All right. For the purpose of this class, we have the lesson outcome for us to look at what AI, artificial intelligence, and why AI ethics, that's AI ethics principles, AI layers, or basically AI ethics layers, and then we'll do a short project for to be able to.
Mr. Kingsley, I'm really sorry for this. Guys, Prudence.
Yeah, we've already done that, but now we are yet to do a report.
Jane, can you please
Tisaka was
mute
to do that today, but like for the document review.
Jane, can you please, thank you so much. Please again, guys, the ground rules, please mute yourself. If you're going to get into a call, rather rather log out and then you'll come back in. Mr. Kingsley, you can continue. Sorry about that.
Oops. You might want to mute anybody, so that we would not have distractions while having the sessions. I think that might also help everybody to be able to concentrate. So I'll just go on. So we will be talking about, these 4 things. It's going to be a very brief class, and it would help us to understand what we're talking about. Okay, before we explain or go into details of what AI ethics is, I think it is good we understand what is AI ethics? What is artificial intelligence in itself, which is AI? And I would want to adopt the definition of OECD, which was reviewed, I think, late last year. Yeah, the definition was reviewed late last year. And I feel that it's very, very robust and is able to handle, to comprehensively talk about what we are handling today. So according to OECD, it defines an artificial intelligence as, as an AI system is a machine-based system that for explicit or implicit objective infers from the inputs it receives how to generate outputs, make prediction, content, recommendations, or decisions that can influence real or virtual environments. I want to believe that, or I would not want to, I would not want to assume that anybody here has any prior knowledge of AI ethics, right? Because that is why everybody's here. I would not want to assume that there is a prior knowledge on AI ethics. So that is why I am taking it, from the basics. So before now, when we talk about AI, what people usually assume AI is probably one giant machine, science fiction, Optimus Prime, and all those robots that are really big, that is able to do great things, right? But beyond that, we see that AI ethics it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that. It goes beyond. It starts from depending on the level of autonomy, depending on the level of activities they are able to undertake, no matter how small it is, what you are able to classify as an AI system is that if the machine is able to, either from explicit or from implicit objective, infers from the input it receives. Now, this input we are talking about here does not have to be a user input. It could be an input from a developer, right? Because we know that AI system can either be, unlike the current advent of LLMs, that you're able to generate content. Those are levels of AI, right? It's able to generate outputs, make predictions, make content, recommendations, or decisions as far as such can influence physical or virtual environments. We would categorize that as artificial intelligence. Now, when we refer to ethics, ethics basically has to do with human values, what we all categorize as what is wrong and what is right. So ethics is what is wrong, what is right. So when we refer to AI ethics, is that we are now trying to mix these two terms together, an artificial intelligence system and also the ethics, what is right. So it means that we are seeing how we are able to use an AI system, right? Either through our inputs or through the outputs it generates, either predictions, content, recommendations, decisions, we are able to influence for good, our physical or virtual environments. Now, as you're talking, just think about it, right? Think about it and think about any AI systems that you have used or you can see, starting from a simple large language model to as much as, prediction tools, as much as content tools, as much as robots. And think about it. How can an input or a result of an AI ethic, of an AI system be for good? That means that if you are saying that the life cycle of an AI starts from when it is from the initial stage, which would even be from the data gathering stage, right? Before you go through the data cleaning and then to structuring of data, down to training and down to deployment and all the likes. If we are saying that, an AI system starts from there, it means that the idea about AI ethics must not just start from when a user inputs, right? It doesn't start from when a user inputs. It starts from when the model is being, when the idea of the model is being built. How is such principle, how can such model, the goodness, in quotes, the use for good of that system, how do you commence the use for good, starting from that stage? From the stage of idea generation, team composition, and when you're trying to gather your team, the engineers, the project manager, in the case where you are building, a foundational model, the GPUs you want to use. In the case where you are building an API-based, model, you are considering the companies producing the APIs, right? What are their own policies? What are their principles when it comes to, especially when it comes to internet and their corporate governance? Because corporate governance policies, corporate governance principles have a way to reflect on an AI ethics principle, because an organization builds what they stand for. An organization cannot build anything outside who they are. So a tool is a reflection of the policies and the reflections of the culture of an organization. So the ethics principle, the ethical principles is reflected, right, starting from the initials of the team composition down to the deployment and also to the usage, right? But in all these things, why exactly do we have to talk about AI ethics? I'll take a pause here and let me ask the team, everyone on this call, why do we have to talk about AI ethics? Why? Anybody? Why do we have to? Why should we talk about AI ethics? Why is it necessary? Anyone? You might want to raise your hands. I think I can see the chat also. Just raise your hands and let's see why. Okay. Oluwasegun, why do you have to talk about AI ethics?
Good afternoon, everyone. So, personally, I feel ethics is very important because people can, and like you said before, the previous slide, you say AI. Once it takes the inputs, it predicts and it also give out results. Yeah. So if there are no rules to guide the usage, to guide the implementation, to guide the processes around it, people can begin to misuse it, and it can be dangerous to humanity, basically. So in essence, I feel there should be rules and moral. There should be rules basically that protects the use, the implementation, and everything around AI.
Okay, thank you. Any other person? Any other person? Why AI ethics? Why? I mean, why should you talk about AI ethics? In fact, I once read a publication and the person said that, AI ethics is a toothless bulldog because they are just set of principles and lack implementation. So why should we disturb ourselves for AI ethics? Okay, so we have seen that we said, ethics has to do with what we categorize as wrong, as right and wrong. Okay, I think there are some things on the chat. Let me see. Let's see. it is important that AI is governed and policies are built to manage it. Ethics is necessary to guide against misuse, human protection, ensuring fairness. AI is amoral. It is good or bad in the hand of the good or bad person. For the good use of AI, there is need for ethics. Yes. So it is really important to really, talk about ethics. Now, in philosophy, there's what we call multiple streams of consciousness. And why do we have multiple streams of consciousness? It is because what is good to me might be bad to you. And anything that is good to me is good either because of where I'm coming from, my geographical location, most times my social status, most times my government, what the laws in the countries are stated as bad or wrong or good. So there are several things that actually govern, that actually guides us on what is right and wrong. So the idea about ethics is it helps in keeping the use, the development, and deployment of AI in check and ensuring that this does not harm human. Because at the end of the day, what we are looking at is the preservation and protection of human. Now, if you look at every country in their constitution, you'll see the fundamental rights and protecting of the fundamental rights, right? Ensuring that humans are protected. And you see that, for instance, the rights to own properties, right to own immovable properties. So most countries, their data protection laws flows from that right to own property, seeing that data is a property for them, right? It's their, especially PIIs, personally identifiable information, they see as what belongs to them. So the idea is that the artificial intelligence, AI ethics is founded on fundamental rights, ensuring that humans are left as humans and machines are left as machines. And there are streams of consciousness that they are, different classification of what is good and what is bad. And that's why you see that whenever countries are drafting either their AI policies, AI strategies, and even the AI laws, especially in the EU AI Act, you will see that there are provisions for AI ethics as fundamental and as foundational in the regulation of artificial intelligence. This is because there is, number one, there are bad actors. Number two, there are bad users. Number three, there are technical issues, technical default in AI, where AI can be built the right way, can be used the right way, but the AI system itself can misbehave. So it is looking at all these flows of consciousness and all this flow of usage. It is good that AI in itself is ethics is imbibed in all the process. I mean, all the life cycle and the pipeline of AI development, starting from the beginning of the project down to the deployment of the model. So let's continue. Now, there are several levels of, probably before I talk about these principles, let me just let me go a bit further in this slide. I would come back to talk about this. So that we'll be able to understand some things. Okay. So let's do something, right? Let's do something. Let's start from here. So we have talked about AI ethics as what is good, right? Ensuring that the usage of AI is used, for good, and it respects humans, especially fundamental human rights. But let's see the several layers of AI ethics, because AI ethics, and that's why this is an AI ethics summer school, and this is the composition of everything we'll be doing here. Number one, we see a technical layer of AI ethics. Now, under this layer, we ask some few questions. How can we design AI systems that are fair, transparent, and safe? What technical measures can prevent AI?
Mr. Kingsley, you
Yeah.
are muted.
Oops,
You are muted.
I'm muted. How did that
He's
work?
not muted. You can hear him. I'm hearing him.
Oh, just to be sure. Can any other person hear me?
I can hear you clearly.
Yes.
Or I could hear you clearly.
Oh, thank you very much for the feedback. All right. So there are several layers to AI ethics, and that is why we have what we call a multi-stakeholder approach to AI ethics, right? And as many that are here, I believe that we have several backgrounds, and that is why, your place here is really important. And for as many that are looking for where to get started in AI ethics, this might be a way to get started. This might be a foundation for you to, to start from. So you could consider, first of all, the technical layer. Why technical layer? You begin to ask yourself a few questions. Number one, how can we design AI systems that are fair, transparent, and safe? What technical measures can prevent AI from perpetuating bias? Probably I can address this further. As a technical person, you look at AI from the lens of the technicality, probably as an engineer. You look at it, okay, so if I'm developing and building an AI tool, what exactly can I do? How can I build this system to ensure that it's fair? What is my definition of fairness? How do I define transparency? And how do I define safety? I mean, that's left for you to answer, right? So you think about this because it is really technical. And to be able to check this, we have a session for this, for this particular technical aspect. You ask yourself some questions, and that's why you see organizations are building tools to help answer these questions. For instance, on AI fairness, you look at, I know of IBM AIF 360. AIF 360, it has several metrics for checking AI fairness, starting from equalized odds, disparity density, I guess, and several equalized odds, right? It's several metrics. We also have Fairlearn. I think that you can import that probably on your Anaconda or any of your, probably one of these Python libraries. But this thing helps you. Okay, I should repeat those metrics. We could just check. We have about almost 55 metrics of when it comes to AI fairness, about 55 metrics. Let me see if I can quickly Google them to be able to help out with that. The idea about fairness metrics, or you can even do that right now on the call. You can do that right now on the call, so you can help yourself. The idea about fairness metrics is that based on what you are building, you ask yourself, what are we defining? What are we building exactly? Yes, you get the slide. Sure, you get the slide. You ask yourself, what are we building? What are we developing? And what is the likely risk this can cause? So that would be what can help you in choosing your fairness metrics. For instance, we have statistical parity or demographic parity. For instance, the idea about statistical parity or demographic parity is that it helps you to ensure that to check if an AI system is showing bias on some demographic features of audience. Demographic could be looking at the outcome of the AI system. It could be either it is giving positive response for people living in either the northern part of the country or the western part, or even looking at it from the skin color, skin type, and the likes, right? So several of all those things, it helps you to check your fairness. You could also want to check the question of expandability, especially when you're looking at the last mile effect of an AI system, right? So those are the things you look at as a technical person involved in AI ethics, right? It's a layer, and it's very important because the idea, in fact, you can even, most of you would have been aware about DPIA, Data Protection Impact Assessment. Data Protection Impact Assessment could be the legal aspect of, data data auditing, right? But when it comes to AI, there is also the technical way of detecting if a bias is if there's a bias towards protected or unprotected attributes. Please let me know if I'm going too fast or I'm going too technical and it's difficult to understand. I am happy to repeat again. So if so these are the technical aspects. You can use AIP, AI Privacy by IBM. They also have a tool for that. I mean, several companies are now building tools, right, on AI fairness, privacy, expandability, because unlike, there are many things that as a user you cannot see. There are many things that as an auditor you cannot see, except you go to the back end, scanning and auditing the data, the algorithm itself. And the best way you could do this is to go through the technical lens. So that is a layer of AI ethics. Let me move on. The next layer you also want to look at is the legal layer. As many of us that have legal background, this might be a very good way to start for you. The question you ask yourself as an ethicist in the legal layer would be, what laws should govern the use of AI? How can existing legal framework adapt to address the unique challenge posed by AI? So there are several legal considerations, especially looking at it from either the organization level, the country level, and then the international level, right? So we know that most countries are either in the stage of their strategy or in the stage of their policy. But the fact is, strategies or policies can never take the place of AI regulation. They could only guide. They could only guide as to probably, when it comes to strategy, we look at in the next 10, 15 years, this is what we should do. And strategies could start from talking about empowerment, skill, infrastructure development, and all those things, right? So strategies give step by step. Strategy gives like an overall, like a vision of a country to achieve. While policies give some form of recommendations on the usage or recommendations on best practices. But whatever level any country is, strategies or policy cannot take the place of AI regulation. So as an organization, building AI system or using AI system, as a lawyer, as a legal person in this space, you might want to help draft some internal policy, especially on the use of Gen AI, generative AI. It could be like, it could also help out to do some internal policy when it comes to acquisition of infrastructures, probably acquisitions of GPUs, acquisitions of talent, and also when it comes to the use of third-party softwares, especially while you are building tools, because I know that only few companies can afford to build a foundational model. So what are the legal layers, right? How do you answer these questions? What laws? And I also want to put it in this perspective. But when people say that, there are no laws governing AI in the country, that might be a bit wrong. If you are following the news, especially in Nigeria, you would see the FCCPC, Federal Consumer Competition Protection Commission, and their recent fine to Meta on the wrong use of, data of consumers, especially looking at the several data points of the organization. So when it comes to the legality of AI ethics, or the legal layer, is aside from looking at a general AI law, right, you look at what is the category of the software or the product I'm building. What niche is it? And then what are the laws that are available in that niche? Probably you are building, a surveillance tool. In that case, you might not want to go deep into looking at an AI law that is absent in that country as an excuse, but you look at what is the provisions of the data protection regulation of that country when it comes to surveillance system. If you are building for health, instead of you zeroing your mind as to there is no AI laws that's in the country, you might also want to consider the provisions of the DPAs, which is the Data Protection Act or laws. You might also want to consider the protections of the health law in the country. Probably there might be health acquisition, infrastructure laws. Now, you might also want to look at that. They are building on climate. You also want to, on climate, probably you are predicting the weather or you are predicting something. Instead of zeroing your mind that there is no AI law, why not look introspectively and look at what are the laws that regulate the environment? What are the environmental sustainability laws and policies in the country? And how can you build an AI system that could help to get this work? How can you build it? How can you build it? So that would help, right? The next thing you want to look at is the philosophical layer of AI ethics, which is a bit complex. And questions you answer on the philosophical layer include, how can AI be considered as moral agent, especially when you are giving the AI some level of autonomy? How does this AI, what do you classify or categorize as wrong or right? What is your take on the existential role of that AI in the society, right? What threats do they pose? For instance, there are things that are right in Kenya that are wrong in Ghana. So if you are building a tool that is being deployed in other countries, what is their philosophy in life? What is their life principles on good and bad? So very, very important you look at that. And several principles, several policies, several thoughts comes under this. You also look at it, what ethical principles should guide AI development and deployment, especially on the pipeline. Although we are still going to talk about the ethical principles, right? We'll talk about that. But you ask yourself all these questions, looking at it from the philosophical perspective of an AI system, of AI ethics. Another layer you will look at is the economic layer. How will AI impact economic employment and economic structure? How? So you are building a tool. So as an AI, as an AI ethicist in an organization, you consider the economic factor in that system. How? How will this thing affect? How would it impact the economic structure? Would this AI system create what we call an unfair advantage to people living in that geographical location? Would it? What policies can mitigate the negative economic effect of that AI system? For instance, you are building an AI tool, or probably you're an organization building an AI tool that is causing, unfair advantage. How do you look at it? And you know that when you come to the economic impact of AI system, especially on organizations that are building, large models, looking at their acquisitions, looking at several aspects, right? You consider that. And the final layer is what we call the social layer. How does AI affect social structures and relationships? For instance, building a tool, a dating tool, a dating software, building tools that building robots for child incubation. Now, I know that these are controversial matters. I will be sincere, especially the legalization of abortion or not. I mean, we are not here to talk about that here because we all have different philosophies on that. But these are social issues. Some view abortion as right, some view abortion as wrong. And here is a company building a tool to ease abortion, right? We are not here to discuss that, but I'm just giving an example of how an AI can really affect social structures. How can it affect social relationships? What measures can ensure equitable access to AI to benefit different communities? What measures are in place to ensure that this really is built to keep the society together and not to tear the society? And for the social aspect, it's really not looking at bias, because we know we have cultural bias. What kind of bias? Because data, under computer, we have what we call garbage in, garbage out. In AI system, we see bias in, bias out. So you consider, right? You consider what are the biases that are coming in from a society. What are the biases that come from society? How has this influenced the data that is being fed in an algorithm? For instance, some societies, they do not. Some societies classify. I mean, there's a way they treat people that are. I don't want to use the word disabled, but let's say less privileged. And you know that this particular thing affects how data is being fed and how the data is being trained. So what is your work? What is your work in ensuring that this is done? And I would want to just give like a short notice, a short comment on all this. One of the outcomes of the summer school is that we are producing a research work, right? So you could look at any of these 5 layers and think about it. What can you write about it? For instance, the social layer of AI ethics. What do you think about the social layer? What are the several various topics that could emerge from this? The economic, aspect. And the economic aspect also, is as broad as even looking at the acquisition of AI infrastructure, public acquisition of AI system. That's also an economic impact. That's also an economic consideration when it comes to public acquisition of AI system, right? When it comes to philosophical aspects, you look at the question of the existential risk, right? There is this particular one that people talk about. I mean, a whole lot. I would want to take a pause here. I think that's a lot of information overload. And we'll take a break. This is 1:08, Nigerian time. Would just take a 7-minute break, or would get back by 1:15. That's about 8 minutes break. Just reflect on what we have discussed together, and then when we come back, we would wrap up the class. We'll wrap up this session. So just take a break, reflect, put your questions together, and I would continue in 7 minutes. Won't data always bias? So I would treat all questions immediately once we are done with the break. Reth, is the minute, is it sufficient for the break, or what do you think?
Hi, yes, I think, did you say 7 minutes or 10 minutes?
Okay, that's fine then.
Yeah, so guys, you can take a break, coffee, water, whatever it is that you do, and then please be back on time. Thank you.
And you might choose to stay on the call. I mean, it's just 6 minutes already to end the break.
Mr. Kingsley, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here. I'm still here.
Okay, while they're taking a break, I just want to find out, would you rather read the questions yourself, or would you want me to help you read through the questions that the participants have for you?
You could just read. So I'll attend to everything at once. Does that work?
Uh, okay, so I'll note the questions and then, okay. So far, I don't think we have any questions. Oh, yes, we have one question. Yeah, so far we have one question. Great. Hi, Ola. We are on a break, so you can take a break and Are you back from your break? Ready to go?
Okay, please show a sign, emoji, something, just to be sure that we have people on the call. Just a thumbs up. Okay, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Let's have reactions. Reactions. Okay, I can see 2. Who again? Okay, I can see 4, 5. Okay. Okay, so we'll just start. All right, so welcome back. Just to give some bit of, to calm the whole long talk before we move to the next things we want to talk about. Okay. The class would almost be done in no moments. Let me start my screen and then we'll start. Few moments and then get started. Please confirm if you can see my screen. Where are you?
We can't see it.
Not yet.
Okay. You should be able to see it now.
Yes.
You can see it.
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. So I have a class project for everybody here. To be submitted by Friday, before 12 p.m. Watts. So you would read about this case study, and pen down your thoughts on the ethical principle that applies to this. So you read about the Compass recidivism, read about the Cambridge Analytica and Facebook, read about the Uber self-driving car fatality, and you also read about the IBM pattern ontology. These are documents that are available on the internet. So just take notes, read about this, and write about any of the 2. So you don't have to write about the 4. Write about any of the 2 and list the practicality of the applicability of AI ethics in 4 scenarios. So you have to write about just 2. So either Cambridge Analytica, or you pick IBM Watson, or you pick Uber self-driving car fatality, or you can pick the Compass recidivism risk. Ren, you can help mute anybody having background talks. I think you are an host, so you could help mute so that we don't have people interrupting the class. Okay, can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So let us go to ethical principles, and that would help you when you're doing your class projects. Ethical principles. While we are talking about the scarcity of AI regulations in several countries, we see that many organizations, international organizations, have put several ethical frameworks or principles that could help guide in either the development, deployment, and the use of AI ethics of AI systems, and I'll just be outlining a few of them. And hopefully I'll be able to give one or two comments about it. You should read about it, after now, so you're able to get what it is talking about and how it affects you, how you could, what it's talking about. Let's start from UNESCO, their ethical principle. They have the first one of proportionality, and do no harm. Now, this principle is founded on the basis that building an AI system should be built just for good, and AI systems should not be built for bad. Unlike just as we have in the EU AI Act on the different kind of harms, minimal risk, different kind of risk, minimal risks, high risks, prohibited risk, and all those form of risk, right? So that is exactly what the proportionality and do no harm principle is talking about. Ensuring that AI systems are built in such a way that they do not cause any harm. I would advise that you'd go read more about the principles, especially the details on the proportionality and do no harm, segment of UNESCO's AI ethics principle. The next thing is safety and security. The idea about the safety and security principle is ensuring that AI systems AI systems are built safely, and also the system are secure and do not are secure enough, especially on their infrastructure, and do not, orchestrate or occasion any harm, right? Do not occasion any harm. So the safety and security, you could read more about that. I would want us to wrap up this class very soon, because there are further announcements and further tasks that we have for everybody. So I would just want to go over it very quick. So the safety and the security, ethical principle. I'll share a document on this so you could read further. I'll share a document on this, right? The next thing is fairness and non-discrimination. I'm sure most of us have heard fairness, don't discriminate, right? Yeah. The whole idea about AI ethical principle is that this particular ethical principle is that it does not occasion any form of discrimination and is fair to all. And that is where this particular metrics, the question of, statistical parity or demographic parity really comes to play here, ensuring that the outcome for variable A is the same outcome for variable B. So if you are testing a particular algorithm for a certain society, it gives the same outcome for the next society, especially when you are removing protected attributes, when the protected attributes are undisclosed. We're ensuring that the outcome is the same, right? AI, the system does not orchestrate any form of discrimination. Now, the question about sustainability, I'm sure you must have heard about the sustainability goal, right? The SDG goals, either for AI for peace, environmental sustainability, education, all the sustainability goals, right? We're ensuring that AI ethics, the AI system does not go anti-sustainability. The next thing is right to privacy and data protection. Now, we'll be having a special session on this, I think on the 9th. On the 9th, there is a session on that, on privacy, ensuring that the rights of a data subject is guaranteed all through the algorithm development or the algorithm modeling stage. It could be either you're anonymizing, either you are just ensuring that a data subject's right is preserved, which includes consent, withdrawal of consent, and every other thing that has to do with the protection of the rights of a data subject. How is this done? When organizations are adopting this, right, they look at the peculiarity of the organization and are able to adopt this in a way that suits them. So right to privacy, very, very important. The next thing is the human oversight and determinationalism. Determination, human oversight and determination. How does human oversight and determination come here? So that's what we call human in the loop. Human in the loop starts, it means a human is kept to watch over the returns, the output of an AI system to correct it, right? So for instance, when you're building your AI system, first of all, you ensure that the functioning of, there's an oversight over the functioning of an AI system. And the practicality of the implementation of human oversight is, when you are building a tool that you give room for feedbacks, right? Feedbacks that help you to develop models. So you are sure that people are kept in the place to ensure that these feedbacks are well implemented all through the pipeline, especially during deployment and during the use of the AI system. Responsibility and accountability. The idea is this, right? You are ensuring that, and this also has to do with liability of AI system. We are having a session on this, on liability, especially when an AI goes wrong. Who takes the blame? Who is responsible? Is it the user? Is it the developer? Is it the company? Or is it the AI itself, right? So we are saying that AI companies or developers should be accountable, or to put mechanisms in place for the accountability of such systems. So it's an ethical principle. You might want to read more about how these principles come in place and how they can be implemented, how it can be localized, right, into an organization to adopt it. The other thing is awareness and literacy. Now, how many of us have used a tool before that during the first usage, it just tell you, click here for this, click here for that, click here for this. Yeah, that's the idea about awareness. You are sure that while building an AI tool, you are putting mechanisms in place for awareness, for users that are using it, right? There's public awareness, there's literacy on the usage, on how the benefits of those tools. So you are putting such in place. So these are the principles that UNESCO have stated. We'll go over to the OECD principles and let's see the similarities, in this and, other things that helps out, between the OECD and the UNESCO, because these are the widely adopted international AI principle standards. Now, for the OECD talk about inclusive growth, sustainable development, and well-being. So the idea about this is that we're ensuring that building an AI system does not cause an unequal growth, especially its inclusivity on regions, northern region. So you are ensuring that this systems does not orchestrate, unequal growth, and also can also promote sustainability, like sustainability and also the well-being of the people it is meant for. The next thing is human-centeredness, value, and fairness. Now, still on the fairness, but the idea about this principle is that you are building a tool that has human in the center, like it is human-centric. Why is this important? As an engineer, before I used to be a software developer. We are fascinated by our new invention. Wow, I'm building this tool. This tool can do X, can do Y, can do Z. And we are not putting in the end user in place. Now, if you're in Africa, I'm sure you'll be aware of some ride-hailing apps or some fintechs that for the gain they want, right? Because they want to loan a user a certain amount of money. They get access to all the contact and the personal information of such user to blackmail or do other things, or to threaten them in the case where the user does not return the money. So the idea is that most times companies are driven by profits. Engineers are driven by innovations, right? and users are fascinated by features. So how do we balance these three interests and ensuring that the idea is human and fairness at the center of development? And that's why this is very important, irrespective of the profit a company wants to make, irrespective of the technological advancements an engineer wants to make or the engineering team wants to make, irrespective of what fascinates the product team. You're ensuring that, you must take a chill pill, calm down, and put human in the center of the development of this tool. The next thing is transparency and explainability, ensuring that a user is able to understand the outcome of the decisions of a machine. So if you are using a self-driving car and the self-driving car is saying turn right, turn left, why? Why should I turn right? Why should I turn left, right? So how do you explain it? So the idea is users are able to explain the outcome, are able to explain feedbacks from an AI system. That is the whole idea about explainability. And transparency is from the part of the company, ensuring that they are transparent, when it comes to the development of the AI system, and nothing shady or black box, nothing is dark about the development. Robustness, security, and safety. The idea about robustness is you are building a system that could accommodate anybody that falls under the category of the audience or user of the software. So let's say, for instance, you are building a tool for healthcare sector. You're ensuring that everybody in that healthcare, anybody in that facility are able to use this tool. It is robust enough to accommodate everybody, and it is safe and secure for people using that thing. You might also want to read more about the OECD principles and the implementation framework for this principle. The last thing is the question of accountability. And most times it can be very, very difficult, especially when it comes to AI company giving account of how their AI system is being working, how AI system is being built, and what are the workings, the internal working of the system. So accountability is really important for you to gain the trust of the user, because at the end of the day, you are building it for a user. You are not building it for yourself. And it is good that you are building this tool in such a way that can give account of the data usage, data training, and other aspects of the AI system. And yes, that's the end of the session. Thank you. If you have questions, you have anything, contributions, discussions, conversations, I am happy to, to listen to everything. Thank you. So, Reth, you can take it up from here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kingsley. That was a very informative presentation. We have a hand up, and it's Wendo. Wendo, you can go on.
Hi, thank you. My name is Wendo Gizaka from Kenya, and I had a question in the chat, but I think I can rephrase it. So basically, I was asking about about AI being biased and whether we can truly have AI that is unbiased, because from my understanding, through the life cycle of any AI, any sort of AI, the data that is going to be fed into the system is data from human beings. So that will always pose a bias. And in connection to that question, we've talked about the layers of the layers of AI ethics, and there's a social layer, the philosophical layer, the legal one. And I just wanted to find out, is there one that is there a hierarchy of these layers? Is there one that is more prioritized than the other? Because you can find a situation in which then you can have AI in, for example, Nigeria, and you can have AI in Mauritius, but the laws are completely different. The social aspect is different. So you can't have AI that will be used perfectly in both jurisdictions. So yeah, those are my 2 questions.
Okay, so I would want to take all the questions together. Do you have other questions? So we'll just address everything together.
So far, we don't. Can you please just raise your hand if you want to ask a question so that I can see you? No questions yet, Mr. Kingsley, so I think we can just go ahead and answer this one.
Okay, so the first one, if an AI system can be biased, well, AI systems, there are no systems that are not biased, because human by nature, they're biased. I mean, why would I wear a white shirt over a black shirt? Why would I use an iPhone over a Samsung? Why would I wear a pink shoe over a black shoe? Right? There's nothing there's no guidance as to what I should use. So, and you see that if I am now a person that wears a lot of white shirts and a questionnaire is generated, what color of shirt do people wear? And let's say, for instance, what color of shirt would you prefer to wear? I put white. So, and it's asked over time. It means that when you're developing an AI system, there's likelihood for you to think people from my location, people from my culture, people from either my age range like white shirts. That is bias. The fact that 10 people are wearing or using a thing doesn't make it right. And you recall that these data are generated by human beings. So the idea about AI bias is something that it is inherent in the data. And that is why you have to conduct a lot of fairness check, like a lot of fairness check, to be sure that AI bias are treated. And that's why you do fairness, you do explainability, you even use responsible dashboard by Microsoft, just to be sure that biases are reduced to the barest minimum, because human by nature are biased. Other biases can come in. It can even be, most times you can do, after treating all your bias, you can also have like a selection bias from an algorithm. So there are several bias, either from the society, from the algorithm, from the team, like a whole lot. Most times from the training, from the loops of an AI system, a bias can spring on. So it is. And then when it comes to the layers of the ethics, I do not think the layers, any comes before any. Depending on the situation, depending on the circumstance, depending on how it's being used, will determine what to use. But the idea is that which is the fundamental thing about the layer, is that you're able to understand what question should you ask, especially if you're establishing your authority in a particular segment. So let's say, for instance, you want to be an authority in the technical aspect. What would be your major consideration? If you want to establish an authority in the legal aspect, what should be the things you look out for? If you are looking at the societal or the economic or the philosophical aspect, what are the things you should look out for? I would also want to recommend that everybody on this call should take a course from Babel AI on Introduction to AI Consulting. I'm sure in the coming days, the founder of Babel AI will be taking a course here, but I think you should all check out the course, Introduction to AI Ethics by Babel AI. You would be able to understand a lot of things, especially how you could start a career in AI ethics consulting. The course is free. It's a free course, and if you have any challenge with getting the course, you could reach out to Red. She will be able to guide on how we could get it. I see and one and up. Toib, Akanbi.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for the presentation. It was very enlightenment. But I just have a question about, can you hear me?
Very, very well, I can hear you.
Yeah, I just have a question about the impact of the AI on the unemployment. as an economist, there are a lot of problems that's actually, it's not a problem, it's just a disruption in the labor market sector. Of course, AI is actually increasing economic growth, it increases productivity, but the ethics background is that there's not a displacement of workers. There's been like a high rate of unemployment. In fact, probably there is a work process that actually can give like 10 people work. With the introduction of AI and automation, it just require one person. So there's not a displacement of people, workers who couldn't be able to get a job as a result of the automation, even though the objective of this creation of this automation was to increase the productivity of the labor in the first place, is now leading to the replacement of labor. But my question is there any ethical framework that tries to manage the amount of the rate of the AI development in relation to other ethics in relation to other people effect, or is there just because as you said, there's a principle for inclusivity. Even the AI stuff is not too much inclusive for a lot of people. It's also in the internet. There's a lot of percentage of people who don't have internet, also in Africa and Nigeria also. So I don't see much on the inclusivity for the people to actually participate, even with the use of the AI. But then my question is there any regulation to try to make sure that the advancement in the AI is being subjected to the effect on other sector of the economy? That was my question. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So on this particular part, we have a session that would comprehensively address that on AI and employment. Scott would be handling that, looking at the impact of AI on the society, especially on job displacement, on several aspects, specifically on hiring and safety at the workplace. But notwithstanding, many countries are already coming up with policies, principles, especially UNESCO. You can check out UNESCO's principle, on AI and sustainability. I mean, it was well discussed. I will share the document after this session. It is well discussed there on the question of, providence, and also on how AI can be the rationality and reasonability of the adoption of AI, in organization. That will really help out. It's really robust work. We would share that after this session, if that's okay with you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Awesome. If there are no further questions, I would hand over the mic to Reth to give the announcement, or whoever is taking the announcement, and I'll take my bow from here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kingsley. So far we do not have any questions. Guys, if you have questions before I start with the announcements, just raise your hand so that we get that out of the way. Okay, we do not have any announcements, so I'll just go straight into it regarding I have two announcements. The first ones are oh, you have a question? Oh, you can go ahead, sorry.
Okay, hello, I'm Ian from Kenya. So my main question on AI, like how can we use AI to our advantage? Like in businesses, in health, in data privacy, etc.
Okay, so the question is, how can we use AI to our advantage? I think one of the ways you could use AI to our advantage is to understand why the AI is built. So if you don't know why an AI system is built, you definitely, abuse it. So usually it's best that people understand why an AI is built and the functionality of such system. So I think this will really help. I mean, as men down this call, this would really help when you are, advising people, when you're talking to people on AI. Yes. This would help while you are, talking to people on AI usage. So understand what's the functionality of the system? Why is it built? what is the extent to which it can be used? I know that many persons, many organizations do such documents. So you can try to read out the document and know what is this for, and that would help you to use it for your own benefit and to have a good use of it.
Thank you.
And please do not forget the tax for the week, so you're able to submit on time. Ruth, you can take over.
Thank you. So I have two announcements for you guys. The first one is the housekeeping rules. We have 17 of them, and then I'll just jump straight into the other announcement. Faith, do you want to say something before I carry on? Okay. So the first rule is please be punctual. Join all online sessions and team meetings on time. Respect everyone. Treat all participants, instructors, and staff with kindness and respect. Participate effectively. Engage in discussions, activities, and team meetings. Ask questions if you are unsure about something, and feel free. Keep it professional. Maintain a professional demeanor during all sessions. Be honest. Stay on topic. Focus on the subject matter during discussions and activities. Use devices wisely. Use your computer and phone or tablet for learning purposes only during sessions. And emergency protocols. Know how to reach out for help if you face technical issues. Feedback. Provide constructive feedback to improve the program. Social media. When we ask you to do something on your social media, you're expected to do it. This helps promote the program and share your learning experiences. And then mute when you're not speaking. Mute when you are not speaking. When you log on, just mute yourself, please. And then attendance. Attendance in all classes and team meetings is mandatory and will be one of the criteria for graduation. Faith, I think this answers your question because your question was based on how is the attendance marked. So I think I've just answered you on that one. And then we have team meetings. You'll be grouped into teams and expected to participate effectively in team meetings. Team meetings and team collaboration is essential. And then last but not least is to have fun. We are all here to learn. There is no right or wrong answer. I hope I'm correct, Mr. Kingsley, to say that, because we are all here to learn. So for the first announcement, this will be posted in the group, and I'm jumping on to the second announcement. So this is for research purposes. Asman, yes, I will share the link as soon as I'm done with the announcement. Thank you. So the thematic track, the summer school program requires 2 research papers, a group paper, research topic, guidelines, and groupings will be provided for you, as well as an individual research paper. Upon successful completion of the program, for the purpose of summer school submission, we invite individual submissions in the following thematic areas: audits, evaluations, safety, and accountability of AI systems. This track will focus on the methodologies and practices for auditing and evaluating AI systems. It includes assessing data, algorithms, models, and applications for fairness, justice, accountability, and transparency. Papers in this track will explore metrics and evaluation practices to identify and mitigate adverse impacts of AI on individuals, groups, and society. They will also emphasize the integration of fairness and accountability from the inception of system development. The track will cover frameworks and models that ensure ethical practices throughout the deployment lifecycle. Topics might include bias detection in AI models, transparency in AI decision-making and the role of accountability in AI system design and deployment. So that is the first thematic track. The second one is critical and philosophical perspectives on AI ethics. This track will bring together critical studies and philosophical inquiries to integrate the foundational dimensions of AI technologies and their societal implications. It will encompass historical, economic, social, scientific, and cultural perspectives of AI development, the risks and harms associated with emerging technologies, and that is embedded in scientific and technological inquiries. That can inform ethical AI practices. So that's the second one. The third one is law, policy, and governance in AI deployment. This track focuses on the intersection of AI ethics with law, policy, and governance. It will examine existing public and private regulatory frameworks governing the deployment and use of AI systems and policy proposals to ensure ethical AI practices. Papers will explore the effectiveness of current regulations, propose improvements, and discuss the role and policy in mitigating risks and ensuring the ethical use of AI. Topics may include the regulation of AI in healthcare, the impact of AI on privacy rights, and the governance of AI in public administration. So the two announcements, guys, will be shared in the group. And you'll also get your group research assignments by the weekend. So regarding, can I just go over the chat to see? Well, the sessions take 2 hours or 3 hours every day. Mutoni, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. You're asking if the sessions will be 2 hours or 3 hours every day at the same time. Yes. Bernard, you would like to request tutors to respond to emails. Okay, that is noted. WhatsApp link. Okay, I am going to share the WhatsApp link. Just please give me a few minutes so that I can share it with you. And as I'm preparing